Ahoy there, trader, and welcome back. This is the Anti-Investor Swing Trading Podcast. Let's talk about having a laser-like focus to create mastery and profits. Hi, it's Phil. Welcome to the Anti-Investor Swing Trading Podcast, where we talk about swing trading stocks, stock options, and index futures. My goal is to help the next 1,000 traders become financially independent and retire early from the financial markets by providing the right tools to use, the rules to follow, and the software to assist you so that you don't make the same mistakes that I made. And from now on, I'll be your personal swing trading mentor to show you the way. So if you're ready, let's do this. Now, knowing a thing and doing a thing are two very different points. I mean, how many armchair coaches do you know? They can run all the best plays with the full benefits of hindsight and certainly no pitch side pressure. Do you know what I mean? Now, randomly, would knowing every car and make of model and number, would that make you a better driver? So let's explore what it takes to stop being a jack of all failures and become a master of one. Now, that was a silly and perhaps very whimsical example. Would knowing every make and model of car and model number and colour and year, is that going to make you a better driver? And yet it perfectly illustrates the point. Knowledge is not power. Knowing everything and all the technical analyses is like the Dow theory, the GAN theory, the Elliott wave theory, the tools, the time frames, the widgets, the whiz bangs. Is it really going to make you a better trader? Heck, even the inventors of the Black-Scholes model, one Mr. Black and Mr. Scholes, which is the de facto differential model used today to assess price and options contracts. The investors, two very smart cookies and very knowledgeable chaps, and after some initial success, and even despite winning a Nobel Prize for their work, blew up their own hedge fund in 1998 and lost 4.6 pinkies out billion dollars in less than 4 months. So knowledge is not power. It would be more important to know what to do with what you know. Go a mile deep on a topic rather than a mile wide. Have a narrow focus of specialization compared to being a generalist and know a little bit of everything without ever mastering anything specific. Now, for myself, I realized this quite quickly and quite early on in my learning phase, and I was basically reading every book, as you do. You read every book. This is kind of pre-internet days, but reading every book I could get my hands on and trying to understand what I was seeing. And what I quickly realized that none of the books that I was reading were actually telling me how to apply what I was seeing, and more specifically, in real time. The books were, they were all theory. It was quite literal textbook examples. Now, it did serve to lay foundations of knowledge, which I could then move beyond and build upon and start applying in real time on the hard right edge of the chart, the critical art of, putting my money where my mouth was. I made an important decision way back in 1998 on a sunny Sunday morning, reading Jack Schwager on futures yet again, a 1,000-page tome of a book for probably the third or fourth time, and realizing that trying to know everything in that book, the patterns, the tools, the indicators, the widgets, the whiz bangs, trying to learn it all and comprehend it all at the same time, it was a fool's errand. And the books themselves were little short of just being reference books on the popular tools and the patterns. And what I really needed was focus. What I then also needed to know was how to profit from my newfound knowledge. Now, my accidental decision back then was to focus on what interested me most. Now, I've got to admit, it was an accidental decision. It was a very lucky and fortunate decision, as it turns out. But what I didn't want to do was to sit down, and bear in mind, I was hand-drawing charts at the time. I didn't want to sit down and calculate the MACDs, the CCIs, the RSIs, because I didn't know which indicator was the one that I should be using. And I decided to press what I thought was the easy button. Because I was hand-drawing charts, I'm a very visual trader as well, I opted to use the geometric shapes, the patterns, the ebbs, basically price action behavior. That was the route that I started down. And it was an accidental decision, in fairness, but it was out of my situation at the time. And in fairness, that was what I was attracted to. It was generally what I was most interested in. And I opted to double down on the patterns and the geometric shapes that have, thousands of fanciful names. That's not really important right now. And double down on that and quite literally ignore everything else which required me to sit down and plug in all the numbers into a calculator at the time. So I pressed the easy button, and that was my choice. Now, that was the first of many leaps forward that did contribute to starting to see consistent successes in my own trading. So the bottom line really here at this point is, you don't need to know it all to make it work, and I certainly didn't. And even to this day, while I do consider myself reasonably knowledgeable on the subject of technical analysis, I am by no means an expert on everything. I decided to go very deep on a few small subjects and become a specialist in the things that quite literally just interested me the most. And the reality of what I do today, almost 30 years later, down this trading route, it's actually not that far away from where I started way back then. It's certainly been honed and fine-tuned, and these days is quite literally a systematic rule-based trading system. And certainly compared to the seat of the pants version that I used back then, it is very rule-defined. If this, then that. It's an algorithm. When this series of events happens, place the trade. When this series of events happens, manage the trade. And that gives me a lot of peace of mind. Anyway, all you really need to make trading work is one simple method. I spent the first 12 years quite literally just trading consolidations and breakouts. Just like all real-world businesses, you need to focus on one area or one product or one industry and get really focused. And some of those businesses, they actually specialize several layers deep. All we're doing as traders is emulating the path that the most successful businesses in the world follow. They have one product range, one industry, one focus. We're doing the financial trading equivalents of running a successful business, because this is a business too, and we need to treat it as such. So if you like what you heard today, be sure to follow and listen to the very first episode where I map out one of my most profitable money-making patterns. It's the one that I trade most of the time, and you can go back and listen to an outline of that. You quite literally get everything that you need to make it work. But that's it for today. Thank you all for giving me your time and attention, making me a part of your regular routine. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you at the same time next time. Toodaloo, trader. Keep in mind that futures, options on futures, stocks and stock option trading involves a degree of risk that may not be suitable for all investors. Past performance is no guarantee of future performance. Anti-Investor provides educational information and does not provide financial advice.